all looks clean at the moment, but look at the spray. It's really, really hard to see anything really more than the third, fourth car in the pack.
And Alex Martin there sort of ducking to the inside going into Old Hall, partly to see where he's going as much as anything. And a big slide there. That's the Sasha Kaka Hugo Cook Audi that goes around. And please, please, please get it going. Yes, you will. Willie. The car with a yellow flag being shown at the approach to the corner to warn people that there's a spinner, does now get going, and thankfully it wasn't collected by everybody, but the cars are still pouring out of Deer Leap to start their first flying lap. And in these conditions, it is all about survival. But Rob Collard, very experienced driver, he's no stranger to racing in the wet. He's a class winner in the Spa 24 Hours. He leads, and look, Alex Martin, new to GT3 racing, is right there on the tail of Ian Loggy.
Yeah, really hustling on. Ian won race 2 here last year in the wet, so we know Ian is quick, but Martin definitely on the front foot. We see Docker there, but it looked like it was a spun Lotus to the inside of Cascades, yes, potentially stuck on the grass. This is so tricky. It is so cold here, 7 degrees, cold tyres, cold brakes. I think that's what caught the Audi out of Kakad. Probably the rear brakes just locking, and then you add cold brains into it. That's why we're going Toyota Supra of Jundu off on the inside of Shell. You can see how banked it is. It rejoins, spraying mud all over the track. Keep going, please. That is going to be lively the next lap.
Yes.
That sort of grass track, muddy entry to Shell Hairpin.
The Lotus that went off was number 20 of Ian Duggan, or dug in possibly if it's on the grass there. Kavi Jundu off the road then in the Supra. And as Joe rightly says, next time around for the GT3 cars, they're going to have a different track surface. But a winner here when he first came to Oulton Park in 2021, and a big moment there as Mark Smith so nearly gets in the back of Ferguson. Up the escape road has gone Carl Cavers as well. They survive it somehow. How contact wasn't made there, looking back. Oh, that was quite a moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, here we go. I nearly said the day's guy was celebrating. That must have been millimetres. I don't think Ferguson saw him, so didn't do anything different, but Smith had to go left, couldn't even keep it on the escape road.
Rob Collard's just getting away a little bit more. 2 fastest laps in a row now, as so close to the back of John Ferguson's BMW. Comes the McLaren behind. This is for 11th and 12th places. Simon Orange then right there. This is John Ferguson in the BMW tiptoeing his way into Cascades, and there's not a huge amount of evidence of the road drying out. The spray still hanging in the air. You're right, Loggy has just done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:48.7, so he's taken round about just under 4 tenths out of Rob Collard. The gap's down to 9 tenths. In third place is Alex Martin, and these 3 escaping from Sean Balfe in 4th, ahead of the McLaren. Off at Lodge Corner, though, has gone the BMW. Is that the Carl Cavers car? 22, I think it is, that's facing the wrong way. So Carl Cavers, the Century Motorsport BMW, is on the grass. And we've talked about how wet and slippery the grass is, but is he going to be able to get off? He's having a good old go. Trouble is, he's got to reverse into the traffic.
Yeah, I think he's done the right job there. He's just got back enough to get himself round. Quite an early part of the corner to have a spin. I just wonder if he got slightly assisted.
This is what happened to Carl Cavers. Have a look to the far left. He spins into view, and Richard Neary was involved / caught up in that as well somehow.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's guilty, but you can see there's no paint on that panel because he likes doing a bit of damage, does our Richard. But
very well, he's got Seb Morris as co-driver, and they're on pole for race 2, but he's under attack, look, because Harry George, number 17 Mercedes, is right there behind as they drop down towards Lodge Corner. The Ram Racing Mercedes, same colours as John Ferguson carries for Ram within GT3 on the BMW, and now Harry George makes his move on the inside line, look, going down towards Old Hall Corner. Has he got the traction? Thinks better of it. Charles Dawson goes wide, looking for grip on the outside line. Comes off the corner a bit wide, stays ahead, but there is a gap for Harry George to take, but he's not quite brave enough. Yes, he is. He does go through. Goes through, coming out of Denton's. So Harry George goes through, up 1 place in class. That puts him 5th in GT4. And that flapping wheel liner is getting a little bit more pronounced, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Make it harder to overtake him because he's a little bit wider, but I don't think it's going to get worse. Sometimes you see bodywork getting worse and worse. He just turns in maybe a bit early on Doc. I'm just trying to see where that contact's going to be. It's really slight, isn't it, if there is any?
You could just see something flick off the car and go out of shot, so I think there was just a rub between them. So Barwell will be looking at that, the team that operates that race-leading Lamborghini. Rob Collard, the driver. It'll be son Ricky to take it over, and 62 Mustang is off the road, and that is Will Moore at the wheel of it, and I'm not convinced it's going to be as easy to get off the grass there as we've seen in other places.
He's properly ploughed himself a furrow there, isn't he? Poor Will Moore, as we see Smith going out wide of Lodge Corner. We do have full course yellow now available to Peter Day, the race director.
Prepare for full course yellow, it says on the timing screen, and we are going full course yellow. So you slow to the delta speed that Joe was talking about. You don't bunch up, you just slow to that speed. And anybody that doesn't, goes too quickly under the full course yellow procedure, will be subject to penalties, because the data is available through the GPS service that is there to the race director from TSL, the timekeeping service. And so big disappointment for Will Moore. He's out of the race, he's out of the car. And I would have thought, given the time to get a recovery vehicle, to get that off the grass, it may well have to go to a safety car. Yeah, so it's coming out of Shell, isn't it? So that's the end of it. So he's just run wider and wider, hit the barrier, but at 80 kilometres an hour under a full circuit caution, that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, nothing ceases to amaze me. A bit like when I drive home from here, back down the M6, and you see people wandering around on the motorway, and you're like, how'd you get your licence? I guess we're in a similar position here, but
safety car procedure. Safety car procedure. All cars speed up to catch the safety car. All cars speed up to catch the safety car.
Here we go then, and Ricky Collard accelerating away. It's up to him to control the pace, and he aims to build that gap as rapidly as possible, while Phil Keane has to wait until he gets to the green flag, get to the timing line, and only then can he get past those 3 GT4 cars. So Ricky Collard is away and gone already.
Yeah, he's passed the first test. You've got to use those GT4 cars as your cork in the bottom. He's done that well. Backed them up so far he could go early, so he didn't catch the safety car by going that early. And look at that gap already, 2.5, 3 seconds. So he's got a real march on it. Phil Keane timing it perfectly, not losing any time, getting past the Ram Mercedes, but still 2 cars to go. And Collard will be all the way down the avenue, just going out of shot into Cascade. So perfect restart for that Barwell Lamborghini.
Absolutely right. And so now Phil Keane's going to try and get through the traffic. So was Sandy Mitchell then in 3rd place. Fastest lap of the race, by the way. Sam Neary, as you see there, Dan Harper in that purple-nosed BMW, the reigning champion, trying to get up the inside. More spray hanging in the air now. So admittedly, many of the cars, you've got the more experienced driver, the pro driver on board. They should be able to cope with the conditions in a way that the AMs may have been less confident of doing, but even so, it's still very treacherous out there. We are on lap number 19. That's all. As there, look, up the inside goes Adam Smalley in the Duckham's back garage 59 McLaren. This is Sandy Mitchell. He's working his way through the GT4 traffic. Clears one of them, but he's got that Mustang to sort out as well, coming out of the Britain chicane. Now pulls the trigger and ought to be able to get through before they hit his lobs.
Yeah, so our first 3 cars through the leaders, we see 2 wide. Gotts on Roach with Neary sniffing around the back. Gotts got a terrible exit there. Must have gone hard into the traction control, stopping the rear wheels from spinning, but ultimately driving him forward. Look at that, as a bunch of cars trying to spot them through. Bit of debris being thrown around. Look at Marcello all over the curb on the inside. Neary's done well there. He's got past 2 cars on that little straight. Roach now struggling for grip. Gotts trying to go around the outside. Is he going to get eased off the track? Very fair by all of them. Roach actually not having his rain light on, not flashing at the mandatory 4 hertz now. Trying to help the drivers be able to see it. 63 is going to be investigated after the race for safety car procedure. Oh, that's awkwardly big, isn't it? I think the lights literally went off, but...
Yeah, but that's not 5 lengths.
Does it stipulate 5 lengths of your car or a 40-foot lorry? I'm trying to find Mark Lemmer. This is awkward now. You take over, please. OK,
that's a lovely bit of tarmac we're looking at. I'd like to see a Lamborghini. There it is. So that's what's being investigated, that he had dropped so far back. Then you can accelerate, admittedly, but it's the 5-length regulation. The lead gap between Ricky Collard and Phil Keane is dropping like a stone. It's a 1.5 seconds now between those 2. And then Sandy Mitchell has done another fastest lap of the race, a 1:43.3. He's over a second a lap quicker than the sister car. He's 0.6 a lap quicker than Phil Keane. So it's concertinaing, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, but we've only got 5.5 minutes on the clock, as you can see, just over 5.5 minutes. But that is the gap. It was over 2 seconds last time. It's a 1.5 seconds now. Hundreds taken out of the lead by Phil Keane in Sector 1. This is game on. What do we put this gap down to?
Will be issued with a 30-second time penalty in lieu of a drive-through safety car restart procedure.
There you go.
Car 63, 30-second added to your race time in lieu of a drive-through safety car restart procedure.
And 30 seconds is going to put that car in 13th place. Now, I was about to say, what do we put the gap coming down to? Because clearly it is ebbing away. Keane is catching, so is that him hustling on? Is it Ricky Collard with a problem? But in a sense, it's all irrelevant anyway now, because for not respecting the safety car restart procedure, a 30-second penalty post-race is going to go the way of number 63. So the Mercedes now can just sit there Ka-ching, race win coming up. The leaders go. We're going to get one more lap out of it at the end of this.
Change of penalty. Car 63, no penalty. Car 63, no penalty.
Is that because I got arrogant and pretended we were really clear? I'd be interesting to see why, in terms of there must be some more evidence that they're going to support Barwell, but so everything we've just been talking about is completely irrelevant, and Phil Keane now needs to knuckle down in these last 2 laps.
Now going to be discussions, I think, with the other teams about that penalty being issued and taken away, but we understand it is all to do with the lights, which went off, came back on, and added to the confusion. So benefit of the doubt given to Ricky Collard. So for now, we can say that 63 Ricky Collard in his British GT debut for Barwell with his dad is going to be a victor. Down they come then towards Lodge Corner. The clock has hit 0. The checkered flag is at the ready. It's going to be a 1-3 for Barwell Motorsports. Second in between the two 2Cs, the Mercedes. But Ricky Collard and Rob Collard win round 1 of British GT for 2024. Over the line comes the Barwell Lamborghini Huracan. It is a win for Ricky Collard, and a very happy dad is already celebrating. Second, Phil Keane and Ian Logie, and third, Sandy Mitchell and British GT rookie Alex Martin. So Ricky and Rob win round 1. Ricky and Rob Collard, the victors here at Oulton Park. Ian Logie and Phil Keane take second, with Alex Martin and Sandy Mitchell third. Fourth to Mark Radcliffe and Tom Gamble, ahead of Adam Smalley and Sean Balfe with 6, Mike Price and Callum McLeod. Marcus Clapton 7th with Morgan Tilbrook, ahead of the Bunker brothers, Chris and Alex. 9th, Michael Johnston and Dan Harper. Top 10 rounded out by Johnny Adam and Giacomo Petrobelli. Sam Neary got 11th on the last lap in the Mercedes he shares with his dad, ahead of Raffaele Marcello and then John Ferguson. Kevin Say and Maxi Goetz struggling to 13th after a spin. Hugo Cook recovering with Sasha Kakad for 14th, and Tom Roach and Simon Orange dropped away down to 15th. A little bit further back, Mikey Porter and Jamie Day winning in GT4. Second of the GT4 crews provisionally, number 31, Seb Morris and Charles Dawson, but their pit stop procedure is being investigated, remember. Zach Meakin and Jack Brown were third, ahead of the penalised Mark Warren and Will Orton. Ravi Ramyid and Charlie Robertson fifth, and the Mustang of Marco Signoretti and Eric Evans coming through in 6th place.